Welcome to this week's story time as a part of the Imagine Your Story summer reading program. My name is Mary Ann Wright, and I'm a 4-H area educator with Lincoln University Cooperative Extension. I hope you joined me yesterday as we discussed this week's theme of Fables. If you missed that video, don't worry. It's posted at both the Pemiscot County 4-H Facebook page and the Caruthersville Public Library Summer Reading Program 2020 Facebook page. Today we are going to be reading a version of a classic fable, The Three Little Pigs. I'm thinking that you have heard the story, The Three Little Pigs, but I bet you haven't heard it in this brand new way. We are going to be reading the book, What's the Matter with the Three Little Pigs? This is a take on the classic tale that incorporates science. This book is written by Thomas Kingsley Troupe. Let's go ahead and start reading. Once upon a time, there was a family of pigs. A huge family. A family that was outgrowing its house. "I'm sorry, you three, but you're old enough to be on your own now," Mama Pig said. "I need the room." Steve, Hector, and Alice were sad. But they knew Mama was right. It was time for them to go. Steve packed his teddy bear. Alice grabbed a few books. Hector filled his suitcase with mud. Alice shook her head at her little brother. "What's the matter?" Hector said. "Mud is magic." "No, mud is matter," said Alice. "It's basic physics." "Huh?" Hector said. No pig knew more about science than Alice. She loved reading about how things worked. "Matter is the stuff that's all around us," she explained. "Everything in the world is matter. You, me, mud, this house, that wolf on TV." A photo of a wolf had popped on the TV screen. The reporter said the police were looking for him. B.B. Wolf had scared a little girl in a Red Riding Hood. He was dangerous and still on the loose. Before the three pigs left, they looked at ads in the newspaper. "We each need to find a house that will keep us safe from the wolf," Steve said. "Something solid." "Solid?" Hector said. "What does that mean?" "Well, Hector," Alice said, "there are 3 basic states of matter." She pointed to a tree in the yard. "That tree is a solid form of matter. Solids are the strongest. They hold their shape. The pond water over there is liquid form of matter." "What's the third form?" Hector asked. "Gas," Alice said. "The air around us is a gas called oxygen. Gases are almost always invisible." Hector giggled over the word gas and looked at the house ads again. He circled his favorite. Steve and Alice each circled their favorite too. After hugging Mama, the 3 pigs headed out into the world. The next day, Steve stood proudly at his new house, a houseboat. It floated near the middle of Lake Donut. Steve liked how the lake was shaped like a donut. But he didn't like that there was something hairy creeping along the shore. little pig, in the middle of the lake," the creature said. "I'm going to eat you like a birthday cake." It was BB Wolf. "You can't get here unless you swimmy swim swim," Steve shouted back. "And you don't look like a great swimmer." "Then I'll wait, and I'll howl until the snow begins to fall," the wolf replied. Steve shook his head. "That was a really awful rhyme," he said. The wolf shrugged and agreed. "I agree it wasn't a winner. My soon-to-be pork-chop dinner." The snow fell really hard. Really, really hard. It was one of the biggest, coldest snowstorms ever. Steve watched as the water in Lake Donut began to change. "Oh, now I'm oinked," Steve said. "I forgot matter can change states." "I'm going to eat you with butter and rice," the wolf called, "as soon as the lake water turns to ice." Steve grunted in horror at the frozen water. The liquid had become a solid. BB Wolf started skating across the frozen lake. "I've got to get out of here," Steve said. Little pig, where are you going?" BB Wolf called. "You won't get far now that it's snowing." "Your rhymes stink," Steve shouted, scrambling off into the night to find Hector. Sometime later, Steve found Hector's house. It was entirely made of ice. Steve knocked hard on the front door until Hector opened it. "Hi, Steve," Hector said. "No time for that, bro," Steve said, pushing aside his brother. "That wolf is hot on my curly tail." Hector closed the door and locked it. "Don't worry," he said. "We're safe in here. The walls are made of solid ice. Come on, let's skate." He tossed Steve a pair of skates, and the two skated around Hector's living room. They sang songs and forgot all about BB Wolf until a knock came at the door. Hector looked through the peephole. "Oh, Mud, it's that wolf guy," he said. "You can't escape me one way or another," BB Wolf called. "Now I'll eat you and your piggy brother." "You'll never get in. We're surrounded by icy ice," Steve shouted. The wolf smiled, took out his cell phone, and tapped a few times. "Oh, that's fine. You can stop your yipping," BB Wolf said. "I've just placed an order with next day's shipping." Steve and Hector couldn't imagine what that awful wolf was up to. Very early the next morning, a delivery truck arrived. And what did BB Wolf get? A flamethrower. He squeezed the trigger and fire shot out. Little pigs, I don't mean to boast," he began, "but this is sure to be the best ever pig roast." Steve and Hector watched as the walls of Hector's house turned from a solid to a liquid. "The fire is changing the state of matter," Steve shouted. "Your ice house is turning into water." "Let's go," Hector said. The pigs ran out the back door and hid behind some bushes. The wind blew hard and cold. It nipped at Steve and Hector as they watched BB Wolf melt the house to the ground. The wolf sniffed the air. He chuckled. "The ice house is melted," he said. "No dinner was inside. But I can smell you're near, pigs. You cannot hide." B.B. Wolf started creeping towards the bushes. He crept closer and closer. Just before he reached Steve and Hector, he took a step and fell into a furry bottom. "Nice," Steve said. "A little patch of water refroze and changed back into ice." "Matter can change back into its old state?" Hector asked. "Sometimes yes, and sometimes no," Steve said. "It depends on the matter." Before the wolf could get up, the two brothers ran off to find their sister. Alice's cabin was made of stone, with log posts out front. The brothers pounded on the hardy, heavy door. "Hey, guys," Alice said. "Come in. I'm about to make some tea." Steve and Hector hurried inside and told Alice their stories. "He won't get in here," Alice said. "This place is made of solid stone, and the wood won't melt like ice." The teapot blew its whistle. Little puffs of steam escaped through the spout. Hector pointed to the stove. "Your water's whistling," he said. "Matter is changing," Alice said. "The water inside the teapot changes to a gas or evaporates when it's heated. Some of it escapes through the hole. That's what makes the whistle blow." Steve peered out the window. "We might need to make an escape too," he said. B.B. Wolf was back. Little pigs, when will you learn?" the wolf sang. "Ice can melt and wood can burn." The wolf shot fire from his flamethrower, and the wood on Alice's cabin started to burn. "Don't worry, boys," Alice said. "The state of the wood is changing, but fire can't burn stone." Steve opened the window and yelled, "Nice try, dog breath! We're all safe in here from your teethy teeth." Once the wood was burned up, B.B. Wolf tossed aside his flamethrower and disappeared into the woods. "Is he gone?" Hector asked. "I hope so," Steve said. Suddenly, a rumble shook the house. Out of the woods rolled a giant crane with a wrecking ball. B.B. Wolf sat in the driver's seat. "I'm going to make these quiet woods louder as I knock your little piggy house down to powder," he shouted. The wolf wiggled the crane's controls. The big arm swung back and then forward. The wrecking ball smashed into the side of Alice's cabin with a boom. "Oh no!" Alice cried. "I thought this house was solid," Hector said. "It is," Steve said. "The wolf's not changing the state of Alice's house. He's changing the shape." "The rock pieces are still solid," Alice said, "but they won't keep us safe anymore." So the three pigs ran as fast as they could into the woods. Soon they came upon a small roadside stand selling hot air balloon rides. It was the perfect getaway. They bought their tickets, hopped in, and quickly rose into the sky. Hector looked at the big balloon above them. "Alice, is that a gas in there?" he said. "Yes," Alice said. "It's called helium. Gases expand to fill the container they're in. The balloon above us is a kind of container." "Unlike solids," Steve added, "gases don't have their own defined shape. They take the shape of whatever container they're in." "That's all very cool," Hector said. "But look, there's another balloon full of gas headed our way." "Yep, B.B. Wolf." little pigs, high up in the sky," he called. "Don't you three know that pigs can't fly?" Steve frowned. "I really don't like this guy," he said. "We need to be lighter so we can go up higher," Alice said. "Quick, throw some of the weights overboard." The pigs untied the basket weights. Even so, the wolf got closer. Steve pointed to Hector's suitcase. "Sorry, Hector," Steve said. "Your suitcase has got to go." "But my mud reminds me of home," Hector said. He opened up his luggage to show his brother. But the squishy mud had hardened into a block. "The mud changed states," Alice said. "It's a solid now." "Oh," Hector said. "Then never mind." And without warning, Hector tossed the heavy block of dried mud over the side of the basket. The chunk landed on the wolf's balloon. Pop! Hiss! "Nice shot, bro!" Steve shouted. The pigs watched as the balloon lost its gas. It zipped back and forth across the sky, sending B.B. Wolf and his horrible rhymes far, far away. "Where are we going to live now?" Hector said. "For you, Hector, someplace with mud, I suppose," Alice said. "But with that wolf gone, it doesn't matter where we go." So that is the end of our story, What's the Matter with the Three Little Pigs? So in this, we learned all about the different states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. So as I mentioned earlier, we know that fables often tell a moral. And so in the classic Three Little Pigs, the moral of the story is that hard work usually pays off. So we can see in this story it's changed up a little bit, but it still follows the main theme of that original fable. I hope you enjoyed today's story, and I hope you will join me tomorrow as we do our fun take and make activity that is all about incorporating science into a themed activity about the Three Little Pigs. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.